welcome to the College Prospect Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Watts. Got a great show for you here today. Today we're going to be talking about the development into a college prospect and what I call a three-step process, what it is and how to develop it. And that three-step process is skills, confidence, and we really want to take a step past confidence. We're going to talk about that as we get to the show, and game. How to develop the skills, the confidence, and the game that will make you a college prospect and allow you to earn a college scholarship or opportunity to play college basketball, but not only earn it, but go and be successful when you get here. All right, so at this time, let me, show sponsored by Wattsbball and the Watts Foundation. Get your kids signed up to learn how to develop to be a prospect, starting from a young age, kindergarten all the way through college. We plant that seed, the love and the passion for the game, develop those skills, develop the confidence, and then we translate it in the game, just like this show. If you don't have a kid or you would like to sponsor a kid, the wattsfoundation.org is the way to do that. And with that, let's get to the show. All right, so what I want to do today is, skills, confidence, fun is pretty, not fun, I'm sorry. Skills, confidence, and game. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we want to take a deep look at each one of these three and what it means to have next level skills, next level confidence, and next level game. And I'd like to give you kind of three real life examples from the GOAT, one from a second round pick college player that just signed for $100+ million. And then a couple examples from my own life about how the different approach to skills, the different approach to confidence, and the different approach to game, and then how you develop those things. So the first thing is skills, and the objective, and you have heard this before if you've listened to previous shows, please do that. Hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified every Monday. But translatable skill sets. You want to develop translatable skill sets, and there's a process to doing that. How do you do it? The first thing is you just develop all the skills as it relates to the game, being able to handle the ball, being able to shoot the ball, being able to finish around the basket with your right and your left hand, and you learn the game as a whole first at an early age, whether it be grade school, middle school, when in your early high school careers, but you get the overall concept of the game down. But once you learn that, then it's time to develop your niche. So, and to focus on areas of the game that are going to allow you to be a productive, valuable player at the next level. Having the whole game and starting to develop a niche will give you a great opportunity to be productive in high school, but being productive in high school and developing your game for high school production is not enough. You want to develop your game in a way that, you have high school production, but it shows that the way you produce in high school will also translate to the level that you want to play next. And so that involves really mastering one or two elements of the game that will allow you to be productive at the next level, but that you can also build your game around. I think I talked about this in the last podcast, and this is not one of the examples, but Kobe Bryant, spent 2.5 hours a day, 3 days a week shooting one shot during his offseason when he was a Los Angeles Laker. You can tell me what that one shot was, in one or two guesses. It was the mid-range pull-up, the turnaround fadeaway. And the rest of his game, the passing, the handling, all of that stuff was built off of that. The plays that he made for his team, the winning, it was all based off the idea that that was a shot that he felt like he could get off on anybody at any time. And if he couldn't get it off, it was because the defense had to put so much energy into stopping him from shooting it that they were giving up other things, either open teammates or drives or whatever it is. So that's the way you want to develop your skill set. You want to develop your game as a whole. Then you want to figure out your niche that's going to allow you to go to the next level. Now, this next part, confidence, is something that needs to be developed. And, people know what confidence is, but I like to think about a better word, and that's conviction, right? Confidence, is you, believing in yourself. Confidence is, hopefully you develop the skill set and the personality that other people believe in you. But conviction really takes it to another level. And that's when, you're in an environment and, your coaches, the people who you look for advice from might not believe in you, or might not believe in the way that you do it, or might want to see things done another way. But those athletes who have conviction, those athletes that, and this is not the best example. I'll give you a couple examples. One, back when I played AAU basketball, it wasn't a year-round thing, but we played high school ball in June, and then July, the entire month of July, we were on the road. And then when we came back off the entire month of July, there was team camp with the high school program, but I had just been on the road for 4 or 5 weeks, including camps and tournaments and all of that stuff. And so when I got back, I needed a break. I wanted a break, and I took a break. I did not go to team camp. And I remember the coaches, saying, hey, like, if you don't go to team camp, you're not going to start. You're not going to be able to this. You're not going to be able to that. And, basically, I was like, hey, I need what I need. And if I don't believe that when November comes, you're going to be able to hold that against me. If you want to win or whatever it is. But if you do, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with the consequences of not going to team camp because my schedule, was different. Like I said, maybe not the best example, but I didn't want to break my body down. I wasn't, and it's just like, hey, man. And at the end of the day, when it all boiled down, by the time tryouts came and I'm dunking on everybody and I'm, like there wasn't a consideration of not having me in the starting lineup. But you have to be convicted about different things, like that. I remember another time, and this goes to game and practice or whatever, but coach was trying to use the example that if we pass the ball around a certain amount of times, then we were going to be more efficient as an offense in practice. In game situation, but this was a practice situation. I remember this pretty vividly. And so we were doing 5 possessions, and we were doing 5 passes on 5 possessions. And the first 5 possessions, I think we scored 3 out of 5 times. The next 5 possessions, we scored, I think, 2 out of 5 times. So that put us scoring at a 50% clip. Then he lifted the pass limit, and we did 2 more sets of 5 possessions where there was no pass limit. Well, we went 4 for 5 and 5 for 5. We went 9 for 10 on those possessions, and was pretty, I was pretty adamant about that. The coach was trying to prove something, and I was trying to prove another thing. And I was convicted that, if everybody, in most situations, it's true that if everybody touches the ball and the ball moves around, it creates a better rhythm and a better, team for offense. Absolutely. I knew that about the game. I understand that about the game. But when you have a player who tips the field, who is dynamic, who draws extra attention, it can be counterproductive to spread the ball around evenly, and it can be more productive to put the ball in the best player's hands and allow that best player to make plays for others. And that was a moment where either he was going to learn or I was going to learn. And I had put so much time, effort, energy, work into the game. It was and I wanted to win at such a high level that it was very important for me that my coaching staff and my team understood that in the biggest, toughest moments, we were going to be better off if the ball was in my hands. And so that's going from developing skills to developing that confidence and conviction. And it's one of the least understood things about becoming a prospect and developing that confidence. As a parent, you want your child with skills to be put in tough situations that you help them learn how to overcome, because that's the only way to develop the conviction. That's the only way to develop the confidence and the conviction that you're going to need when you get to the next level. So the other example I want to bring out is Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, Villanova, college basketball player of the year. I believe he was a second-round pick, Dallas Mavericks. Played really good when Luka wasn't playing. Earned himself $100+ million at the New York Knicks as a starting point guard of the New York Knicks. Now playing on the USA team. But the thing, and won 2 national championships at Villanova. And a lot of people don't understand the, captain, everything in college. But when we were being recruited, when my son was being recruited by Fordham, some of their staff was at Villanova with Jalen. And one of the shots that Jalen works on, develops, that he really is the foundation of his game, is the floater as an undersized guard. Well, I think you find it interesting. I know I did, that Jay Wright, his coach at Villanova, hated the floater. He despised it. He did not want his guys shooting the floater. And where most people, they follow in line with their coaches, but this is what's very literally understood about becoming a prospect. You got to have an idea and a concept of what you need to develop it, and you develop it at all costs, because Jay Wright's goals, there were some goals that him and Jalen Brunson shared, but there were others that they didn't. Jalen had a mission, and he's accomplishing that mission. Well, what did Jalen do when his coach, who did not like floaters, what did he do? How did he do? Did he not shoot floaters? No. He shot 1,000 floaters a day, left and right hand, every day. He would do Villanova's work, and then he would come back to the gym and do his own work, so that he made sure when he got the opportunity that was next from Villanova, from winning a championship, from being the college player of the year, that he was prepared to continue to go on and have success. And did he end up shooting some of those floaters in games, even though coach didn't, in air quotes, like it? Yeah, he didn't like it, but he liked it when he hit them and was able to propel him to a national championship. So knowing what you need to do to get to where you want to get to and doing it is very important, being convicted about that process. And that conviction leads me to the next part, which is developing game. And, what is game? It's a different approach, man. Like, I'll say this, and I say this to kids all the time, you can work as a store clerk. There could be, 15 people or whatever that work as a store clerk. Everybody could start as a store clerk. But if you're going to become the store manager, or you're going to become the owner of the store, or you're going to own a franchise of stores, right? Like, you approach it different as the clerk. Everybody can start as the clerk, but the person who comes in, punches the clock, and leaves and just does what's asked of them is going to be a career store clerk. The one who comes in, punches the clock, looks around, picks up, things, makes sure the store is tidy, learns about ordering and learns about the ins and outs, that it's not their job, but they learn about it, they'll go on to be the store manager. The person who does those things, hangs out with the store managers, figured out they'll go on to be, and so on and so on. And so basketball, sports is the same thing. If you simply do what's asked of you by the person that you're working for at the time, then you're limiting your opportunities to move up or move on. If you want to move up and move on, then you've got to develop game. I'm coming back to developing game. And developing game is taking those skills, taking that confidence, and then developing the understanding of how to adapt to the situations and the challenges that you're in, almost equal to, but even better than the coaches that are on the sideline, right? I mean, the guy who had the most game all time, the GOAT, Michael Jordan. This is an example of conviction and game. But when Phil Jackson got to the Bulls, one of their things was that he had to come off of scoring so much that he didn't believe that Mike could win the scoring title and an NBA championship. And Michael, in his way, his confidence, his conviction was out to prove that he absolutely could do both. And so it's just another example of having that conviction and developing the game to match. Now, what is game? Game is putting yourself in situations with skills and learning from every possession. It's like being a computer, learning from every possession, learning from every experience, and learning beyond the level of just the people around you, but learning as it relates to your trajectory and reaching your goals. And how do you develop game? Well, you develop game by playing games all the time. And I'm not talking about tournament games. Check this out. If you go to a tournament and you're the star player, we'll just talk about one-on-one game. That's a portion of the game. You're a star player. You might get 8 to 10 one-on-one possessions per game. If you're not a star player, you might get 1 to 2 one-on-one possessions per game. And you put that over a 4 or 5 game tournament, star player is going to get 40, let's say 30 one-on-one type reps, 30 to 40 one-on-one type reps over the course of the weekend. Support player, role player is going to get 5 to 10, which is not enough to know what to do with it. Well, we have a practice session the other day. I got 2 guys that are preparing for varsity basketball. We're playing one-on-one rotation, 3 dribble max. So it makes it a little bit more of game situation, but it's one-on-one. There's only 2 guys on the court. We're playing out of the pivot, and in 2 15-minute games, so 30 minutes, those players got 50 possessions, right? It took them an average, we just say an average of 5 times to score at each spot, go around and come back. That's 10 spots. Well, they got 50 possessions of one-on-one against an opponent where they're figuring out how to use their skills with timing, to draw a reaction, all of those things that then to develop game. If they do that, you have 10 of those sessions. That's 500 one-on-one sessions versus if you go to 10 games and you get 20 to 80 one-on-one sessions. Who's going to have the most game at the end of the day? It's the one who puts themselves in situations where they're playing games with their skills against opponents all the time, getting those quality reps, and then taking in the mental note what works, what doesn't, getting coaching, getting on YouTube, watching film, all that stuff, so that when they get the ball into the game, they have the instinct that it takes to take advantage of whatever the situation is. So developing game, is developing instinct. Now, if you want to be a prospect, you got to look at those three things. And if you don't have the skills, you're not going to have the confidence. If you don't have the confidence, you're not going to develop the game. But if you get your skills down, right, just because you have skills doesn't mean that you're going to have confidence. You got to develop the skills, and then you got to put yourself in tough situations and work those things out and, figure out that your skills are valuable and worthy. And then you develop the game that is not just showing up to games and playing games, but taking game to your games is the idea if you want to be a college prospect. And let this be said, you can play a lot of games from kindergarten all the way through high school and have no game. That's like most players don't have game. College coaches are looking for players with game. I'm going to close out on that. That's the end of today's show. Appreciate you for listening. As always, wattsbasketball.com to find us. Links to everything. Links to everything is in the description. Get in the gym with us. Peace, love, basketball. See you next Monday. Out.